weekly stream on Friday where we chat about everything about getting reconnected back to yourself, source, and others. Resource is you got all the resources within yourself, and we always love to chat. What's alive in you, Summer?
Can you hear me well?
Hear you great.
Okay. Just coming off some frustration, hitting my thumb with a hammer. So there's a mild irritation and frustration sitting in me is what's alive in me. Also noticing the sun outside. And the vetiver essential oil that I'm smelling to bring my nervous system back down. So that's what's alive in me. How about you in this moment?
Yeah, there's a tint of frustration, and annoyance in me, with starting 10 minutes later due to some technical difficulties, and looking at the stream not streaming to Facebook for some reason. So uh, yeah, it's frustrating. I'm also feeling weak physically. I'm doing a fast. It's been over 24 hours of a water fast. Though focus, I'm focused. It seems like my mental clarity is there. It's just there's a physical weakness. So yeah, that's where I'm at. So just know my energy is low. I might be taking my time.
Time's good. Slow.
Yeah.
Paced. Yeah. All right. So what we're talking about today, cancel culture. There never used to be such a thing. Now there's such a thing. Cancel culture. What is it exactly? Stonewalling, ghosting, canceling. The difference between boundaries and maybe punishment, and why is it that it's so common these days with estrangements and stress?
Yeah, why is it so common, do you think?
I don't know. It's like social reactivity, when people are in their own personal relationships. It's like, oh, cancel, go away. Anything that elicits pain or overwhelm or too much. It's like, okay, I don't want to look at that. I'll just go off by myself, and I'm not gonna look how your behavior might reflect something in me. I'm just gonna shut it off, turn it off. Maybe I'll go numb myself some way. Just it's a quick way to turn off emotions, stress, things that we're not able to process, I guess. It does remind me, though, on a big scale, because we have the macro scale of our relationships and then the societal pieces of it. Bringing back in Marshall Rosenberg stuff of the 3 levels of emotional awareness, the emotional slavery part, which is I'm responsible for you, I need to people please, I need to fix you, walk on eggshells. And then the emotional obnoxiousness piece, which is everything's your problem. Go away. Never mind. I don't want to talk about it. You're the issue, not me. And then I think the place that maybe we'll all move into or flit in and out of is emotional sovereignty or freedom, where we're responsible for our own emotions and we can come back and repair and have conversations. So it's interesting to me, if one person is in one stage and the other's in another one, how does that work? How does it not work? What's the difference between boundaries and just punishment and cutting people off? Either blocking or ghosting or stonewalling, which is a little less, they'll still talk to you. They just aren't very emotionally available or open. Have you done it?
Ghosting?
Ghosted, blocked, stonewalled, any of those things.
Yeah, blocked people. Yeah. I blocked you on text message.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. I blocked people that have threatened me or said things that were offensive. So yeah, stonewalling, if that's like giving the silent treatment, withdrawal, yeah, I have. Ghosting, hmm, like I don't think I intentionally ghost. Like sometimes I just forget to reply back to a message. I I make it an onus to let people know that I won't be going. But there have been times where I've been invited to go and I change my mind and I don't communicate that, like to a party or something. So maybe that's ghosting too. Yeah. In terms of talking to people that don't align with me, yeah, I do prefer to not associate myself with them. Yeah. My default would be to avoid them because it's just we're just not like minded. We're not on the same page, and I think a big piece of that is when I encounter people that are so my judgment closed minded, not open, and there's a type of aggression that comes with their viewpoints, and it definitely hits a trigger in me as a stimulus when they talk about things where I judge leads to separation, division. And here I am. The irony of it is I'm separated from this person, right? I don't have compassion because there's a there's a mandate within me that wants to fix, wants to make them right, or makes I want to make this situation right and share why their belief is wrong. And so there's this friction and this resistance, and I've encountered this with my family members. Yeah, yeah. And so what I do enjoy is let's say we get into an open debate, open conversation about things where we could see both sides of things and be more objective than being emotional. And where if I do share an opposing view, that doesn't mean that I'm attacking your character, your identity. Though I can see it because I've been on the other side of like if someone disagrees, and I'll speak on my own experience, it's as if like I can't hear it because my identity and who I am and what I believe in is being attacked is my judgment. So I'm defending myself. Go the cancel culture, I think you're saying is a reflection of a fight or flight state of the nervous system. And I agree because it happens so quickly. And I think what once someone says is an attack on me. And so I either leave or I fight back. Right. And so it's just a lack of competency and skill and a lack of awareness of what that state is and the impact it is and that there is another way. Yeah.
Yeah. Another way. Hmm. What way is that? And I notice you're clicking a lot and the sound comes through. So I don't know
Oh,
what
does
you're.
it?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
that's loud. Okay, I'll mute
Mm-hmm.
myself.
Just looking at the chats. Okay.
Yeah, so what is the other way?
It's a good question. There's silence here. What is the other way? Oh, well, I think it takes some time for inner reflection, but also, I mean, compassion, awareness. And I would judge in our busy culture, we don't get enough of that. We don't get enough of being able to see other people's point of view and how other people handle it and how people have discussions. Like, we have very isolated houses. People go to work, they come home mostly. Sometimes people are working 2 or 3 jobs, so they're mostly in a state of busyness versus connection or relating to other people. And makes it tricky. Like how do we begin to start relating to others? And I think this cancel culture where it's like, "Oh my god, you just touched my nerve." It's like everyone's like, "Oh, okay, that bothers me. Cancel them." And it's like the nervous systems are so sensitive, and we don't have the skills enough to learn how to turn down the heat gently. It's almost like, oh, the pot's boiling over, and we lift it off and throw it off the stove, and then it goes and burns other people instead of, oh, okay, wait a sec, I'll move it over and turn down the heat. It's this hyper reactivity. Um,
Mm.
it's not surprising to me that it's on the backs of COVID years later when people's nervous systems were like basted in fear for 2 years. And um, I think there's a bit of cultural, systemic PTSD, post traumatic stress syndrome, that came along with all of that stuff. Um, yeah, Sherry, we've lost relational practice. Yeah, we're not even in relationship anymore, really. It's survival. Um, Finances are tricky these days. I've never seen a time in my time of being alive where food prices have tripled and the minimum wage has stayed the same. Um, on the flip side of that, because there's always a flip side to everything, I think it's inviting more relations, because if we have to live together, if we have to work together, we're going to find ways to do it, because I think we're really resilient in our being. Um, so in Marshall Rosenberg, we were in emotional slavery where we always people pleased. We did stuff. People get burnout, adrenal fatigue. And now it just seems like on a collective level, we're in this emotional obnoxiousness stage. It's like, screw you. I'm going to do what I want. And I don't care what you say, and go fix yourself. It's your problem. So although it looks messy and hurtful and painful, maybe it's a necessary step to becoming more aware of ourselves. That's what I'd say
Mm.
for now, anyways. What about you?
Mm. Yeah. What is the other way for me is the desire to be curious and to leave a positive impact. Because cancel culture and being in it can be quite addictive. Addictive in terms of the rush and endorphins that come with being right and being righteous, and surrounding myself with others that believe in the same cause. It's as if like it's a mob mentality. It's a rush of emotion. So if I can step myself out of that, so I can see more clearly, more objectively of like, what is cancel culture, even using chat to explain what it is. Because if my compassionate self were to be here, why would I want to consider canceling someone or canceling myself? It seems quite harsh, like getting rid of something. And
Yeah.
so I have to see if myself, my values, who I am, is in alignment with that character of cancel culture. Okay, so then I have awareness, and I love this quote that was shared by Angeline the other day on our Facebook. Is all culture has accepted two huge lies. The first is that if you disagree with someone's lifestyle, you must fear or hate them. The second is that to love someone means you agree with everything they believe or do. Both are nonsense. You don't have to compromise convictions to be compassionate. So it's just like creating awareness that there is another way. There, there's an understanding that everybody has a different perspective and different viewpoint, and they're playing out their own movies. And can I can I be in a place where I can accept your point of view, but that doesn't mean I agree with it, right? It's a different dimension where it can allow the parts of me that holds on to that belief for fear of letting go of what I am and who I see myself in the world. I can move away from that and just see it from different people's point of view, and as a way of like taking what resonates with me and leaving the rest. This is all perspective, right? And we get muddled when we're arguing what an elephant looks like and we can't really see what the elephant is. We're just different touching different sides of it. I love that analogy. Five blind men arguing what an elephant is. So for me, that starts with the awareness first. And then I love the piece that you shared about is the rush of reactivity, is noticing when I'm reactive, because when I'm reactive, I lose control. I'm intoxicated. I'm back to fight or flight. So it doesn't matter if I have the awareness anymore, it's out the window. So I got to know what the cues and signs are for me to like, you know what? I don't have the capacity to offer empathy or compassion at the moment. I need to give that to myself and go inwards of why am I triggered? Like, you're the detonator, right? You're the stimulus, but you're not the dynamite of my pain, right? You're not the cause of my pain. You might be pushing my pain, but what's happening within my system is really the cause of it. So I get to explore my feelings around it, my needs around it. And then when I connect with it, my own experience, what happens is this relief and ease that comes with it. I have more compassion for myself and compassion for the world. And now my capacity to sit with you and listen to your point of view is there. And I think we just don't take time to do that for each other. And so we end up tit for tat.
Yeah. I like what Nate put there.
Mm,
Cancel culture has hurt a lot of people. The thing is, and this is the irony of all of relationship, is when you cancel someone, you also get canceled. And this is where we see the mirror in relationships. If I think someone some way, then it's more likely that I am also. And it's such a hard pill to swallow, isn't it? And Dre, so when you were talking about, oh, put it in chat. So I did.
mm,
Um, I chat has a lot of great things. It takes what people already know and puts it together in a way that I couldn't describe. So I have it here. What is
mm,
cancel cancel? Cancel culture is the reflex of unprocessed pain.
mm,
So there's so many of us then what that would mean in a collective level that there's so much unprocessed pain. It says at its core, cancel culture is a collective form of emotional reactivity, an attempt to restore power, safety, or belonging by cutting off what feels threatening, offensive, or wrong. It's the social version of fight or flight. Instead of regulating or repairing, we reject and exile. There's a relational view. Cancel culture mirrors what happens in relationships when we ghost block, stonewall, or emotionally withdraw. We protect ourselves through separation rather than conversation, and we confuse boundaries with punishment. It's what happens when dialogue breaks down and empathy hasn't matured. And if they say that, you know what? I like emotional obnoxiousness. I really think we're coming out of the emotional dark ages. That's what I call it on a
mm.
collective level. We're all, what do you call that stage of life? Teenage to young adult. Very, what is that stage of life? Young adult, just
Adolescence.
adolescence in our collective evolution. Um, the psychological view on cancel culture is it's fueled by collective trauma and moral outrage. I think there might have been a few things that we would have been traumatized by in the last decade. Um, then, when there's a lot of individuals or groups who felt unheard, canceling can feel like justice. But beneath that is pain that never got metabolized. And the needs behind it, because we're all about those feelings and needs, are for belonging, safety, and acknowledgement. Ironically, getting expressed through exclusion, unfortunately.
Mm,
Or fortunately, maybe this is where we find our way to true belonging and safety, which I believe comes through authenticity and vulnerability. Authenticity is where I
mm,
find my safety because then I can know what I'm feeling in my body is what someone is saying that they're aligned and I'm not confused. It's when I'm confused, and don't understand what's going on, then I feel ill at ease.
Mm. Yeah, like you're needing clarity. What's happening?
Need clarity, man.
Yeah, so that you don't jump to stories and start ruminating. And what I believe that we go to is worst case stories, rejection stories.
Yeah, I think we lack a lot of empathy to understand what other people are going through and why they might behave in the way that they behave.
Mm.
Um, we haven't been taught how to empathize with
Mm.
people, really. We don't know what's going on in someone else's point of view. And then we respond out of hurt or lack, and people are like, "Oh, you're terrible. I'm going through this terrible thing, but you've done this to me. Like, how could you not see what I'm going through?" And I do remember when I was married, I just expected my husband to know what I was feeling at any given moment. Doesn't matter what mood I was in. Like, he should just know what I need. And I've heard that from more than in couples.
Mm.
If they know me, they would just know what I need. We're supposed to be mind readers. And eventually I think we'll get to telepathy. Um, but it's this, like you said, what were the words that you used? Um, Justification or um inheritant. What were the words that you used?
I don't know. I think there's a desire to be right.
The desire to be right, but there was a word you learned used along with that. Anyway, the justification of being right and the stance of immobility or inflexibility.
Mm. Yeah, it's like two little kids fighting on the playground. Just haven't been taught. I lack the skills, and especially the self regulation skills, and the skills to co regulate in my family system. And so no wonder, especially if life is stressful and there's a lot going on, and I'm constantly in doing mode, not taking care of my health and slowing down. No wonder I pretty much set up the right conditions for myself to be triggered and to be annoyed by other people that kind of don't float the same way as I do, right? Because it's a direct reflection within my own system. Because like in order for me to have compassion for others, I gotta have compassion for myself, for my life, for where I'm going. And so a lot of like I can imagine stress, anxiety. There's this sense of self-hatred. There's a sense of like, I'm not where I want to be. I'm unhappy and I feel powerless. And that creates anger. Yeah. And where does that anger go? Right.
Yeah. Others that might reflect back to us we're not in the same place that we want to be. Maybe others that are in a place that we perceive is better than us. It's all that comparison.
Yeah. I have a question for you is, what are the ingredients to help people move away from like cancel culture? Like when I'm imagining is this petri dish or this kind of like a sim city of humans and certain conditions are placed, right? And if I turn certain levers, I can increase the stress of certain things. And so perhaps there are certain ingredients that are creating cancel culture.
Yeah,
So what kind
there
of
might be.
petri dish do I need to be in to counteract that? Hmm?
You're gonna get my political thing streaming because um Yeah, you're talking about levels in the petri dish, and I know it reminds me of Bruce Alexander, who studied rats in a cage way back when in 1971 and studied addictions. I mean, there's so many free drugs out there these days, oh, safe drugs here, just give them to it for free. Well, what set the context to have people want drugs to numb themselves? I mean, part of cancel culture is also this numbing and these addictions to drugs that cancel our feelings because it's too painful. It's a reaction. And so what did that? And Bruce Alexander, if you look him up, fascinating gentleman back in 1971. Addiction, because they talk about cancel culture being a part of lacking power and wanting to regain it somehow. Addiction, the root word is dictatorship. It means giving our power away to something and something else. So why are addictions so strong? And as you mentioned it, Dre, Joe Dispenza says, we're addicted to the cortisol and the adrenals that fire. We're in fight and flight, and we cut other people out, and there's no room for ease in our bodies. But what levers were they pulling? Like, really, there has to be a question about when grocery stores are closed and alcohol stays open in COVID, for example, and we're isolated and we're alone. We're really social creatures. And so we're in a place now where I see there's a lot of lack of trust, reactivity, and like you say, I don't think I wasn't taught anyways. When people are, oh, go stand in the corner. If you're crying or throwing a temper tantrum, go stand in the corner. You get punished. Rather than another person putting their hand on your back or a soothing smell to return you to an inner state of calm. And so what levers? Some of the levers are like absolute stress. Who doesn't allow people to work and make money to feed their family? That's got to be the most stressful thing. Our governments did that. Who left alcohol stores open and other things less accessible? And so it doesn't seem too hard to figure out that, oh, why is there so many drugs now? Why is there so many available? And why are people giving it for people for free? Maybe it's easier to control a population that way when they're disconnected from each other. And then they're just struggling, and they'll go to work in the cog and the machine and the system that's been created and the economics. And we all feel powerless sometimes to do a lot about it. And
Yeah.
what can we do? Start gathering is what I would say. Start gathering. Start reconnecting. Being around safe people that, will allow you to express without canceling you, and will fact bring you into the fold because you are being authentic, so that we can start processing the collective pain. Because I don't know what'll happen if we don't. Well, there's a lot of people deciding to leave the planet. It seems like there's more deaths. Maybe that's me, but I think there's actually a death rate that they can find. I personally, in the last week, known 2 mothers whose kids overdosed. 2. And that's only in my personal sphere, and that's unusually high. I've never had that. I heard about that in my whole life. People are
Yeah.
suffering. And maybe it just takes one warm heart. I mean, one's not enough. We need a culture to raise children, and this culture, it's no wonder kids are sad. But what lies underneath that? Rather than giving drugs away for free, why aren't we looking at what is underneath that? Maybe it's too painful to look at.
Yeah, they go deeper, right? And the environment is so important. Like the petri dish, what levers are being pulled in this particular space to support me to see through that. As
Can
you
I
were
say one last
sharing,
thing
like, yeah.
to tie that in? Because Bruce Alexander, who studied addictions and put rats in a little cage and they overdosed in 2 weeks. When the antidote to addiction is not sobriety, he says it's connection. So when they took the rats out of the cage with the cocaine and they're feeling isolated and alone, and he put them in a big playground with lots of fresh air and exercise and sex and food and everything that they needed, they didn't overdose. So as a collective culture, our needs are not being met. I mean, look Bruce Alexander up. It's such a powerful thing. He does not say there's a mental illness or an addiction or a physical addiction. The bottom line is addiction is related to a relationship issue and lack of connection between people. And I see Brianna put something up there. It was an event we all went to. Well, not all of us, some of you on the call didn't, but it was all ages came to something that our good friends Carolyn and Michelle put on. Remembering the Village was powerful for me because of exactly this, feeling embraced, loved, and celebrated for the most shameful and difficult parts of myself. So, what if we all remembered the village? If we could reflect back, in African places, when someone did something terrible, when they did something that was hurtful to others, they would take them and embrace them and surround them and tell them all the good things about them. They didn't put them in jail. They didn't punish them forever. They said, hey, this is what I see in you. These are the beautiful things. These are the strengths and these are the gifts. And they reminded that person versus our culture. Mm. Thanks, Naomi. We might not see those comments. Dre, sorry, I'll hand it over to you. I went on a
Mm,
rampage there.
mm. Yeah, just the pain that comes with being canceled or ghosted. It's like, let's talk. And if one person is not willing, it's very painful. It's like the door is closed, right? And it's like, oh, and it's not on me to save that person, to try to change that person's mind. That person's got to go through their own journey, right? And I could see how like addictive it is because of the mirror neurons. Like when neurons fire together, they're wired together. And so with mirror neurons, if I'm angry about something, that can elicit anger in another person that mirrors back. It's like saboteurs triggering other people's saboteurs. It's like tit for tat. And it's like it happens so quickly. The reactivity is like, right? I can read many books, podcasts, YouTube, but all of a sudden, I'm possessed. So just having that awareness of like, man, can I now instead of put the onus on one person to try to co-regulate, but maybe co-regulate in the community in a group space where I can complain, I can yell out injustices of this world because I truly believe the root need of everyone is compassion, connection, harmony, peace. It doesn't matter what side you are. You're on the left wing side, you're on the right wing side, what religion you believe in. At the core of it, you want to do better. You want to make a positive impact in the world. It's just a sense of powerlessness that comes with what is injustice. So the deep down, the people that cancel other people is like they truly deeply care. Right. It's so
True,
easy
isn't
to
it?
position them as enemies. Oh, they're so judgmental. Oh, they're so impatient. This or that. It's so easy to judge them as if they're judging us. But to deeply see that is that, wow, that there's a lot of hate. That means they're just swinging on the other side of the spectrum of the polarity. If you just swing back, it's love. It definitely beats being an NPC and having no emotion and having empathy or apathy, right? Not caring, having an nihilistic point of view of the world of like, what's the point? There's no magic in this world. Well, at least with someone that has a lot of hate, you can work with that. There's a care, there's a deep, deep, deep care. As anger, I believe, is the deepest form of compassion for what I care about, for what I want to protect. And so it's really seeing that. So if people have that awareness and can really see that person and really help them just be heard, I'm able to work through my own stuff and see the clarity behind why I'm so angry, why I might cancel certain other people. And that might foster compassion because as I am seeing in myself, I get to see myself. And that creates compassion.
Yeah. I notice Naomi responded to Brianna. I've experienced that too lately. It's life changing. And Naomi, are you responding to like being celebrated for the most shameful and difficult parts of yourself? Like in community? Is that what you mean? Just curious. Um, yeah. Can you imagine feeling embraced, loved, and celebrated for the most shameful and difficult parts of ourselves? That finally those exhaled parts of ourselves can come fully into view and others embrace it. I mean, I got teary-eyed reading that, Brianna, like, and maybe that's where we're gonna get up going. Like your quote from David White, anger is the most deepest form of compassion. It's a motivating force for sure. I get a lot more cleaning done when I'm angry. I also smash my own thumb with a hammer, but it's a motivating force. If we're too comfortable, nothing gets done. So maybe this, if we're angry enough, if we see the injustices in the world, the overdoses, the cries for to be able to feel the deep grief and the pain and the collective outrage that cancel culture is, I see the other swing of that will be a reconnection because there is a universal law. Pendulums do swing. And so, on the other side of this, and if anyone needs hope, on the other side of this cancel culture is, I would say, reconnection culture. And I am starting to see it in our academies, in the
Yeah.
relation wisdom school, and remembering the village. There are people who are starting to do it.
Yeah. And this also makes me think about how one thing to counter cancel culture is to have open debates, right? And to approach it from objectivity, logic, and rationality. Though what I'm seeing in that is still two people wanting to be right and to convince and influence, right? And it's like we're stuck on a level of strategies. We're stuck on what the right solution would be, right? You have your solution, I have my solution. Your solution is not as effective as mine. Mine's better. Here's why. Right? Though, can we go deeper in really connecting to the needs that get met through that strategy? Can we first connect there, right? Rather than just having debates where it could go sideways and be divisive, right? And be involved in what I call separation. But can we be in a space where we can accept each other instead? Like, let's hear you out. Let's hear me out. Okay. Okay. But then if I connect to the needs, if that makes sense, then we're in a different type of consciousness. It's like now we can care for the whole. We can care for us. We can care for the impact, and that might birth a different type of solution that maximizes the needs of the collective. That's to me, I don't know, a beautiful conversation to have.
Mm. Naomi, maybe you'll remember this because I think it was a conversation we had yesterday. A book that's out there about consciousness that says that needs are a problem, even. And so I'm curious because even different definitions that people have about different things make it hard to have those conversations. And for me, in observing the English language, which in one of our episodes we talked about it being a very civilized language. It really is about efficiencies and economies of scale. It's about the culture that we live in that is very commercialized versus the relational languages of Aboriginal languages, of ancient languages that are meant for connection. And so this is where I think it's so imperative to recognize the English language for what it is, because it is somewhat divisive. It divides us from what we honestly know to be true versus, yes, thanks, Naomi. I knew you'd know that. The untethered soul attachment to needs. And so I think I'd love to know what his definition of needs are, because for Marshall Rosenberg, the definition is the life-serving energy that motivates and sustains us. And so I'm curious, do you know, Naomi, what his definition is? Because to me, the book or the title, The Untethered Soul, sounds great. I'm untethered, I'm free, I'm sovereign. But that means sovereign to follow my life-serving energy. And if needs are life-serving energy, then they're the same thing. And so I think sometimes there's a confusion between definitions of things. So if we talk about life-serving energy and people wanting to contribute to each other's lives, like you said, people want to support other people. And anger is the deepest form of compassion to living in alignment to who we are as, and what I believe we are is a spiritual species. One that knows very much where our life-serving energy comes from. Why are we here? Why do we have these electrochemical events in our bodies? And why does our heart keep beating? What's the purpose of it? Is it really to make more money? Is it to serve a cog in a wheel? Is it to buy a second vehicle? I don't know. Sometimes it's really nice to have things. But for me, I miss remembering the village. I loved being at Remembering the Village, Brianna. It was so great. I want to do it more and more and more. And then Sherry has a long comment too, Dre. I didn't see that one. What does she say there? Yeah, to actually turn the shame of those parts to celebrate them. Yeah. And we've got a workshop coming up about doing just that on the 16th, if everyone wants to come to it. Befriending our monsters, those parts of shame that we hide. I believe we can strengthen these muscles in ourselves. Self-love and acceptance is up underneath everything, in my view. Yeah. Love and acceptance.
And that way is a blueprint too. Because what that brought a line for me was, "Hey Dre, just love yourself more." Or my answer to someone, "It's self-love." I'm like, "What do you mean by that? How do I love myself? Do I use affirmations? To take care of myself, buy myself nice things, get a fresh haircut?" There wasn't much of a pathway to self-love, though Sherry just shared the pathway to self-love is to go within and name all the parts that are happening within my system, even what I judge to be ugly, shameful, that I want to lock away. And the more I be with it in a way that I integrate it, I embrace it, I hug it, I eat it, I swallow it, that becomes self love, loving all of myself. And that's a journey. Yeah. So just love yourself more. It just doesn't happen overnight. I get that.
Sherry,
It doesn't
Sherry
happen
adds
as
to that.
a it's not this mental exercise of loving myself. It's actually quite deep somatic trauma work, inner child work. Yeah. Know thyself. Yeah. Know
Love
thyself.
thyself. It is know thyself. Yeah.
Yeah. Because the more I know thyself, the more know myself, what's interesting? The more I love myself, the more I love to be alone, the more I value um, my perspectives and my values, and guess what happens? I start caring less about what other people think. I'm less reactive to other people's opinions and stuff like that because I know who I am and what I represent. It doesn't challenge my identity in a way. Yeah.
I want to clarify that though, because you said,
Mhm.
you know, you love to be alone. You're more clear in yourself. Um, Yet at the same time, I would say you're probably more confident in rooms of people too, and they're more drawn to you at the same time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we know ourselves, when we're centered in ourselves, we're not whisked away by drama as easily, by cancel culture. We know that things have their time and divine timing where, well, the universal law, it's the Kabbalion, the pendulum swing, it will come back
Mm.
to love eventually. Brianna, connection with
Yeah.
others helped me learn how to love myself. Hearing and sensing others' experiences and accepting and loving themselves helped me understand this. At returning, returning the village, remembering the village, Nicole and Natalie and Chris made me a big impact on me in this way. Yeah.
Mm.
And this is the beauty of what you're saying, Brianna, is the mirror. How do we see ourselves if we don't have mirrors in others, others of the same ilk and consciousness that have been born in this time? How do we see ourselves? How do we feel ourselves? And
Mm.
when people can really be in their bodies, and there's this exponential feeling, it's not thinking, it's not debating, it's not having conversation, it's like what Sherry said, knowing. And then I can see myself because I see it in someone else. And when I can see myself in someone
Yeah.
else, I'm connected. I don't feel alone, and I belong too.
Mm. Yeah, it's just fascinating in my journey, that the path to know myself was through other people.
Yeah, it is. So
I'm not
irony, isn't
saying
it?
it's the only way, I'm just saying it's in my own experience that for me to begin to see myself, it was through the mirrors of others that held space for me to express myself and for them to express themselves and for me to see myself in them. Yeah. It was a catalyst, 100%.
Yeah. Um, I Naomi holds some journaling for our women, and what day is it? Friday. That was Wednesday night. I was taken out a bit. I was sleeping half asleep, and two of the women read their own reflections out of their journal, and it just made me so incredibly weepy and connected, and it reminded me of some things I needed to remember in myself.
Mm.
And Brianna, the expressive honesty and vulnerability of you two continues to clarify this for me. You know, I see no point in hiding any aspect of anything anymore like I did when I was younger, because truth is what brings us back to love. And if this is my truth, then so be it, whatever it is. Um, Sherry, being part of groups, what like you guys offer to help you see yourself and love all parts, loving yourself and knowing yourself is a huge ripple effect. Oh my God. Yeah, the ripple
Mhm.
effect. It's massive. It's massive. If anyone hasn't watched the pyramid in the pool video by I forget her name, amazing sociologist describing how this ripple effect can bring down systems of hierarchy and cancel culture, because authenticity, vulnerability, truth, its frequency and its vibration and how it moves through us, through our hearts, through our families, and then outward. Like even Brianna, as you're speaking, one event, it was even only one weekend, remembering the village, one weekend. Can you imagine if we did this 3, 4, 5 times a year, or we went back to living in community with the skills of communication, of feelings and needs?
Mm.
Like the potential of humanity is massive. The truth will set you free. It's that saying for a reason. Yeah, the truth does set you free. Exactly. 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 Oh, Naomi, she can trust you. Martha Beck. If you look up videos by Martha Beck, she was a sociologist and really studied different civilizations and systems of hierarchy and control.
Mm.
And she just did this profound video with sugar cubes and the sweetness of life. And if you haven't seen it, just DM me and ask me for it, because it's such a beautiful video, and it's only six minutes in, and you really get what I believe is happening in the world. I see it. So if you want that, let me know. You're running to a meeting, Sherry. See you later. Thanks for joining us. We're coming to a close
Ciao.
here soon.
Mm.
Mm,
Mm.
time goes by so fast.
Mhm.
It's at the end of our conversation already.
Yeah, we did start 10 minutes later, so we can go a little bit 10 minutes into it.
I'm so glad that it's not lagging or anything. It was so painful to
Yeah.
and get it all working.
Mm. Hmm. Yeah. As I was gonna say something about the truth will set you free, like literally physiology, like I do feel lighter. It's like I'm not holding on to this thing on my own. It's like releasing the burden.
It's exhausting.
Yeah. And it's like you're only sick as your secrets. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's so much life energy and potential in the human nervous system when we don't overwork, when we're not taking things on our own. The freedom part is it elevates our consciousness. It provides us with so much life-serving energy. It changes the perspective of who we think people are and their motives towards us. And what is truth? They always say there's one truth, but David R. Hawkins talks about spiritual truth. And spiritual truth is that within a group of people that people can feel, and they all feel the same thing.
Hmm. Yeah. That resonates. It's like, I just know it to be true, right? It just lands in my system. And yeah, truth is lately it's been one of those topics that are just like politics and religion, and where it can create a lot of controversy, because what I'm witnessing is people arguing over truth, right? And what is truth? I mean, literally the sun exists, right? So maybe that's truth with a capital T. And then there's my truth and there's your truth. So we could say it's a perspective. Though in terms of relating, and that's my passion and my purpose is how people relate with each other, is I can just simplify it down, which can cover all perspectives. Am I responding out of love or fear? That's it. That's it. Because there's so many, there's one to many pathways up the mountain of truth. right? There's the easy path that takes a long time. There's the medium path. There's the hard path, like the steep incline with the life's challenges up the mountain of truth. And you go your path. You have your perspective. Cool. You can have your viewpoints of how the world is. But my question is like, is it contributing to more love or more fear?
Mm,
Is it contributing to giving out of compassion and a joy giving or out of shame, guilt? It can be very simple. So if I'm arguing with you about what the truth is, what's my energy behind that? And what am I creating in this space? Something to think about.
yeah, profound. And I didn't realize, Naomi, interesting how this conversation ties itself back. Martha Beck says, truth always feels like freedom.
Mm.
Mm. Some people are afraid of freedom. There's agoraphobia. People stay in their own houses because too much space feels like too much space. What do you do when you're free, when you're used to being confined? Sometimes a prison is comfortable because it's what we know. And when we come into freedom and truth, we enter the unknown, which can be a little bit scary sometimes. And
Mm.
if we've always grown up in an education system that teaches us to give the right answers as defined by authorities versus finding our own answers or painting from scratch rather than a paint by number, ooh, what the world look like if we could all know the slight difference between fear and excitement, hesitation and the unknown, and lean into courage, which David R. Hawkins on the scale of consciousness is the switch between the negative, the fear-based emotions and love. Courage. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Kur, the heart. As the Institute of Heart Math says, it has 6,000 times more electromagnetic energy and 60,000 times more, I might have got those mixed up, magnetic energy than the brain.
Mm. Yeah.
Naomi, I think that's why we so need community to model freedom. And tell the stories of their own fear about being free. So we can see that fear is normal, but there's something wonderful beyond it. That's reminding me of Finding Joe and Joseph Campbell and that story of finding our own freedom and our own authentic soul's blueprint to live a life that's authentic to us and our gifts. I have a young friend who just fixed our car, amazingly gifted with mechanics, and it blows my mind. I'm like, I don't get this. Just the air compressor and the vacuum, and nope, not my gift. People, seeing patterns and energetic patterns in people, building communities, being able to find and help people find their true gifts, their freedom in the world to express what's life-giving to them and therefore everyone else. Mm.
Mm.
But yeah, community to model freedom, their own fear about being free. Sounds weird, doesn't it? To be afraid of being free, to express ourselves, to live life to our fullest capacity and expression. It goes back to Marianne Williamson. Who are we to play small, not shine our light? Mm.
Mm. And let's say I do react out of fear and anger and guilt and shame. Okay, that's okay too.
Human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get to reflect on, oh, what are the outputs? What are what did it produce? Lessons. Yeah.
Lessons for more love.
Yeah.
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 Thank you for everybody who commented today. Such a rich conversation.
Mm. Yeah. And that's so much juice for me to see you comment and spark ideas for me and connect with you and hear what you're thinking, what's coming up for you. Yeah. Yeah. It provides a lot of richness to our conversation. So thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we'll see in the next how long, how many years? 5, 10 years? The swing that's happening from cancel culture to connection culture.
That's right.
It's happening.
It's all part of the plan. It's all part of the journey. We're just going through it. It's part of the evolution.
Yep.
So as we wrap up, we want to also share we have some upcoming offerings for you all. We have a live free workshop available to our Facebook community. It's titled "The Masks We Wear in Relationship: How to Befriend Your Monsters." So it's all what we talked about today in terms of befriending our parts and how that can open up deeper levels of intimacy and connection with your beloved partner, friends, work, all of it. Everything is relationships. So that's happening on Thursday, October 16th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Details on the Facebook group. You can watch it live in there or register and you get a Zoom link and you can join us and do the practices real time. We also have a level 2 conscious communication course. It's 9 weeks long. This is for those that want to embody the communication principles to start working with real life triggers and real life situations. That's where the real work is at. If that interests you, let us know. You can DM us both. And we also have an ultimate relationship event happening in November. That is on Monday, November 17th, and Tuesday, November 18th. 3 hours in each day in the evening. Yes, a lot of good stuff. It's geared towards those that are in relationships. And yeah, we're going to give you some tools to transform those conflicts into bits of connection. So you can clear those resentments as you go along and not wait until having to pay for costly therapy or, yeah, get the word that you be separating. Yeah. Anything else to add,
Ah.
babe?
Oh, I, hmm. If anyone's a woman out there, there is one space, I think, left. I hope I'm right on that. For the 18th and 19th of October, there is an intuitive self healing immersion. This is the opportunity to see the reflection of yourself in community, to free yourself. Yeah. And to start communicating on those deeper electromagnetic
Mm,
signals that allow us to know what's true for us.
mm. Space where I get to see myself, see what's true,
Mm.
what's working, know thyself,
See what's
and
true.
being witnessing others as well.
Yep.
Mm,
And might as well, the Soul Truth Academy is an academy for soul searchers and self healers. We start our new semester on November 2nd. It's not too late if you want to join a group of soulful women doing this type of work, creating community, and putting themselves into the position where they're going to be able to find their right livelihood.
mm,
Never mind jobs, never mind busyness, the adrenal fatigue and burnout. When we live in community and reflect back what we're most gifted in, it becomes a little bit easier
mm,
to feel like we have passion and purpose and also financial abundance.
mm.
It all comes together.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Mm.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week, Friday, same time, 12 p.m. Mountain. See us live on YouTube or our Facebook pages themselves. And next time, hopefully, it streams to our Facebook group.
Yeah, it's
Ciao.
hit or miss for some reason. Bye.